Hello, welcome to the morning show with Sybil Mulcahy and myself, Martin King.
On today's show, we meet a mum whose baby arrived prematurely at just 27 weeks. She tells us of how it was the start of an epic journey of survival for little baby Keely.
Within about half an hour, it became very apparent how ill Keely was and the level of care that she was going to require.
We'll be meeting a psychic medium who developed her talents after getting messages and images from her dead sister. She'll be telling us why she's now attracted to Ireland.
Also, never seen before photos of life in Ireland's richest houses in the mid-19th century. I visit a new exhibition that provides a window into the lives of the manor born.
The exhibition captures the period 1858 to 1922, which was a period of profound change in Ireland. And a number of the individuals represented in the photographs were indeed among the rich and famous.
Plus, we'll be meeting the Wexford man who was recently crowned the Young Farmer of the Year. But first, Keely Wendling was born prematurely to mum Grace. At 18 weeks, the doctors said that the outlook was very bleak and gave the baby a 20% chance of survival.
But against the odds, at 10 a.m. on the 13th of February 2007, Grace gave birth. Her baby weighed in at just 2 pounds and 12 ounces, just over the weight of a bag of sugar.
Well, Keely was my second pregnancy. I'd previously had a little boy in 2005. And on Keely's pregnancy, things went very wrong at about 18 weeks, where my waters broke. And I went up to the hospital and had it checked out, and it was upon being scanned they realised that there was very, very little fluid left around Keely. After a few days and everything settled down, and after a week had passed before I knew it, and the doctor had drawn up a plan, and we created like a management plan of the situation. That continued right up until 27 weeks, when obviously I had Keely. She was 1.2 kilos, or in other words 2 pounds 12 ounces, so quite small. Within about half an hour, it became very apparent how ill Keely was and the level of care that she was going to require. Keely was born in Drogheda, and they felt that to give her the best possible chance, she would need to be transferred to Holles Street for what's called high-frequency ventilation.
And Grace and, thankfully, Keely join us now, along with Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah.
Yes, and who's getting a bit of a facelift.
A bashing, yes. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming on.
Lovely to have you both. Yeah. So, what lay ahead for you? Because we know with young babies, especially premature babies, they're open to all kinds of infections and illnesses, and Keely was no different. So,
exactly.
What happened?
Well, obviously, once Keely was born, she was transferred to Holles Street, and she spent a tough 2 weeks in Holles Street. She had numerous infections, blood transfusions.
Well, he looks an awful lot better now than he did 5 minutes ago. So thank you very much, Keely.
You say in the notes that there was basically no problem that Keely didn't have at that point.
Exactly. There's a lot of primary problems that are premature related, such as a bleed on the brain, a PDA, which is a little valve in the heart that is open. It should close over. When term babies are born, with premature babies, it tends not to. So Keely also had a PDA, on top of which, because Keely had a lack of amniotic fluid, Keely had contractures, so she was quite seized in her knees and in her elbows. So she was on the ventilator for 7 days.
What time is it?
Once she came off the ventilator, she went on to CPAP, which again was just to keep helping her breathe and to give her some assistance. She unfortunately got quite a bad infection at about 10 days old, and it required her to go back onto the ventilator. She was ventilated again for a further couple of days to give her body a chance to fight the infection and obviously give her a little bit of a break. Once she was 2 weeks old, she was transferred back to Drogheda, where again she spent a tough 8 remaining weeks. Obviously with feeding issues, again more blood transfusions. She was starting physio. There was a lot that went on.
And at such a small weight, I mean, she was so tiny. I mean, obviously you weren't allowed to touch her for this time, were you? I mean,
we were allowed. You know, you kind of just have to keep your hand on her, not maybe poke her, or, you know, it's kind of irritating to a preemie baby to be touched too much.
You say that she was transparent.
Yes. I mean, a premature baby doesn't look like, you know, a normal 9-month-old baby or a 9-month pregnancy baby. She was quite see-through, you know, little eyelashes hadn't formed, you know, she just didn't look, you know, what a baby should look like.
But during all this time, you've also got another young child at home.
Exactly.
So how are you balancing that?
Well, I mean, my family were brilliant. My family were really what got me through, and you know, obviously, you know, Callum was 17 months old, so he was only a baby himself.
Yeah.
So you feel so guilty. You know, you want to be up with your new baby, but you want to be at home with your other baby. So there was days where if I could have split myself into two, if it was possible, I would have loved him to. But
was he looking to come to see her as well?
He wasn't allowed. Children weren't allowed into the unit due to infection. So Callum actually only met Keely when a couple of days before she came home. He happened to see her while she was being transferred again up for a procedure. He happened to see her then.
She went home 3 weeks before her due date.
She did, yeah.
But during that time, she had to have laser surgery on her eyes?
Yeah, a couple of days before she came home. Again, it's very relative to premature babies. They can get a condition called ROP. It's retinopathy of prematurity. So Keely needed to have laser surgery to correct it. So she was transferred back again to Holles Street, where she had the procedure done, and it's so far been successful.
Was there many times during this period, I mean, after when she was born at 27 weeks, did they tell you the odds of survival at this point are slim, or were they always hopeful that once she'd been born, she'd get through it?
They were and they weren't. I think they're very mindful not to give you too much to cling on to, because you know Keely, you know, she had a very bleak outlook, and because with so many issues, and it changes daily. I mean, you could go into the unit one day and she's fine, everything's a good day, and you can go into the unit the next day and things are looking bad. You know, they might have detected a problem. I remember going in one day and, you know, they thought she'd meningitis. You know, thankfully she didn't, but that was a bad day. So you kind of held your breath the minute you walked into the unit. You know, it was
to see what the day would bring. Yeah,
exactly.
And were there many other babies and mums in the same position as you?
There was a few, obviously, because I was in two hospitals. I met some mums, obviously, in Holles Street, and then I met some back again in Drogheda. And as well, because I had a little boy at home that needed his mammy, you know, people come in at different times, and it's a long haul. Like, I mean, she was 10 weeks in, so some people go back to work, some people stay off or start the maternity leave. So I did meet a few. I was lucky, yeah.
Did you find that you were just camped in between the two hospitals?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you just get so used to it. I just felt like I was always in the car. If I wasn't in the car, I was beside Keely at the incubator. You know, you run back home, quick bit of dinner, back up to the hospital. It was just a roller coaster of emotions.
Well, she eventually came home.
She did.
When she did, though, she had to wear a monitor.
She did, yeah.
That was for apnea.
Apnea, yeah. Again, it's very common to premature baby, so obviously for peace of mind for the parent, and equally just medically, she was actually prescribed it. So she was on an apnea monitor for at least a year. Which gave me great peace of mind, obviously, to know that she was okay when she was in her cot. And
what did that mean? It stopped. It gave a warning when she stopped breathing, was it?
If she didn't breathe for any more than 20, if she hadn't had a gap for 20 seconds, it would alarm. Okay. So if she was in a deep sleep, sometimes it just happens, she might just be borderline 21, 22 seconds, and it would alarm. Thankfully, it never went off for a bad reason with us. It was just either it had lost contact on the sensor, or that she just was in a deep sleep.
Well, she's now 3.5, and as we've seen, she's full of beans. She's seen herself in the monitors, and she's seen her dad in the monitors in different pictures.
I think we're taking her away now, are we? She's wrecking the set.
I think she's been led away. Anyway, she's got over there. If a camera falls over suddenly, we'll know where she is.
It's her fault.
Right. She's still getting treatments now.
She is. She's still watched. She's watched quite carefully because she had a brain bleed, a grade 2 bleed. So for them reasons, and because obviously her low birth weight, she's watched quite carefully. So she still attends all her doctors in Drogheda. And she's also in early intervention in the CRC, where she attends physio, speech and language therapy, occupational therapy, and thankfully she's doing really, really well. She's, you know, she's meeting all her milestones.
And she looks rather cool with the glasses, but you're saying they're glasses that she needs.
They are, yeah. She recently got prescribed them, and they've made a huge difference to her. So, you know, we'll see how they go.
How is her weight and everything now? Is she at a similar weight of another 3.5-year-old? Has she reached the targets these days?
Yeah, she's met everything. You know, sometimes in her own time. You know, she didn't walk exactly maybe when your babies are expected to walk, but she's always got there in the long run. Her weight has been fine. She is lactose intolerant, so that caused a few issues early on, because obviously she had to be formula fed, you know, so it took a while for her to gain weight, but she eventually got there.
Will there be any long-term effects from being born that early?
None that I've so far been told. You know, it's still very much a waiting game, and I know it's very much, her doctors kind of say to me, it's a sit-back approach now. Let's look and see. You know, we treat her like a normal child, because she is a normal child, but, you know, we just watch, you know, so that if there is an issue, if there's going to be any problems with school or anything like that, that we're on top of things. Yeah. And we can, you know, catch it early on.
It's a very traumatic time when a premature baby is born. For you, she was born 13 weeks before her due date. Yeah. You were running between 2 hospitals and yet trying to be mum to another child. So what support is in place for any mother to a premature baby?
Well, when I had Keely, none that I was aware of, apart from obviously the nurses who are amazing in the hospital and will give you so many, you know, tips and help and advice. It's really when you get the baby home. Because you go from an environment of being, you know, nurses there, doctors there, and then all of a sudden you're in charge of this baby one day, you know, and it's very lonely and it's very isolating. And for a long time, Keely couldn't go out because she was so early born. You know, she came home at the end of April, and respiratory season is still, you know, virus is still on. So we had to be very careful where we brought her. If we took her out, you know, you certainly didn't bring her to a packed shopping centre where she'd catch things. So it was a very lonely time for me, because
you were
I was stuck in.
She was restricted.
Yeah. You know.
But that's changed a bit now. Thankfully changed.
Yes, it's on the road to change, thank God.
Something's happening tomorrow.
Yes, I recently got involved with a group that was formalised back in December 2009, Irish Premature Babies. Okay. We're holding our launch tomorrow in the Rotunda in the Pillar Room. Okay. Begins at 11:30. We're a group of mums that have come together to try and make a difference and make sure that, you know, there's support out there for mums, dads, aunts, uncles, grannies, granddads, of everybody who can be so affected by the birth of a premature baby.
Mm-hmm. There's going to be a buddy system you're introducing?
Yeah, a buddy system was introduced. If you know, you can see it on the website. Really, what it's hoping to do is a mum like me who knew, I knew 10 weeks before Keely was born that she was going to come early. I would have loved to have spoken to somebody back then, you know, someone to prepare me, what to expect, what will happen. You know,
the professionals can prepare you so far, but to actually speak to somebody who's been through it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's totally different.
Completely different.
Totally different. So the buddy system is aimed at that. We have a group of mums who've all volunteered who will basically become your buddy and will help you out, whether it's by email, popping to see you, telephone
Somebody
call.
watching right now who find themselves in the situation you were in.
Yes.
How do they get in touch with you?
If they go onto the website, www.irishprematurebabies.com, and they will see all the information about the buddy system and the numbers to contact.
Well, she's come back onto the set for a second, though. She's gone again.
No, she's gone.
She's gone again. She's returned Mr. Potato Head. She's back again. Hi.
It's a great idea.
Oh, very nice. You're going to have to look in there. Oh, and a kiss.
And a kiss.
Oh, she's gone away. Thank you very much.
It's a great idea. Thank you for telling us about it, making us aware, and giving us an insight into life as a mum of a premature baby, and sharing your story with us.
And thanks so much for having us both.
Oh no, we're thrilled to have you. She's not coming in to say goodbye, no?
No kiss from me, obviously.
No. You're coming in just to give a wave. Just give a wave over there. Just see over there. See with the big right. See.
Alrighty.
Well, thank you very much, Keely. That's made both her day. Yes. Now, after the break, we'll be meeting a psychic who's been attracted to Ireland. We'll be finding out why shortly.